How are we going, everybody? Hey, what are you doing? All right, good boy. This is Vader, folks. Now, a quick one in the garden. I did an earlier one today, live feed, just a quick tour around the garden, and it was a dehydrated garden because I wasn't in for the whole day yesterday. So if you're watching this, imagine the day before, didn't get any water, got to 33 degrees, 34, and a few plants discoloured. So I've gone cleaned up the plants. I'm going to go for a quick tour around, and I also dug up a little section of potatoes. You can see them over here. Have a look at these little beauties. Now, I mean, I'm not bragging about potatoes, folks. They're the easiest plants to grow. But you get some classics like this and you think, yeah, that's really good. Looks like Mr. Potato Head, the two big ears. It's just in the nose. Anyway, it is a potato. Now that was from one little corner, and I had discarded, I think, 2 or 3 little spuds. Just threw them in there to give you an idea. That's what's come out of there. And if we quickly go over to the other side, you'll have a look at this. They just came out of here. This is this little section. Literally, I threw 2 or 3 potatoes in this corner and they've spread out. And you can see, look at all these. This is what I call your typical seed potato. They're a little bit bigger than that normally. There's a few still in here. Those I just leave in there, and if I dig down further, look, I found another one. Look, I haven't even dug. I just sort of scavenged around like that. So that's what happens with potatoes, folks. If you haven't grown them, seriously, I don't know what you're waiting for. One potato can be cut into 4 or 6 sections as long as it's got these little eyes, and what we mean by eyes are these little dimples. Where they chip from, they sprout like little spider legs. And if they start growing their little spider legs, you can plant them in the garden. They're available on the website anyway. Come over here, have a look at these citrus. This has been, we've struggled here. If you've been following me, I've struggled with citrus in this veggie garden. It's been really difficult. Now, whether it's the weather, because we've had humidity, high humidity in warm weather or hot weather, that's helped them or not, or the fact that we've been feeding them and using our superfood and black grit and all that stuff, these have come really well. They've come on really well. See all these dieback? Now, one thing I've noticed with citrus trees, when you feed them too much, and I probably did this to this, they can die back quite quickly. So the new sort of sapling growth that they have on them can get affected quite easily because the root system of the citrus tree sits quite shallow, or the fibrous parts. So they're hair-like roots. Now they do integrate with all the mycelium and all the fungi and bacteria, but because it's so shallow, even if you're using organic fertilizer, if it's a bit too rich, it can burn them. Now, I've been doing my feeding as usual with my black grit and compost, and now the superfood. Whether this was dieback from the feeding or not, I don't know. I haven't done a test of the soil recently. In the past, it was sitting around 5.5, I remember. But it's still green, so all this has to be cut off. So if you've got dead disease and damaged wood, folks, especially your fruit trees, I can't stress how important it is now to go and prune your summer fruit trees, the summer harvest. If you've cleaned up the fruit, go and give them a good prune so you get a better crop springtime. Now we're just going to cut that back, but look at this. We've got growth coming on here. We've got dieback there, and it's a little bit there, so that's all going to get sacrificed. Cut it back to green spot like that, nice and gone. Now that's dying back as well, but look at this, it's worked its way through. It's like canker on a rose. If I don't cut that back off, it's going to work its way through down to the bottom, so we're going to cut that off as well. Now that's a really shitty cut there, because we've got a little fork going on, but for now we'll leave it because it's not a big branch. And we work our way through the rest of the plant, and look at all this. Again, die back in there. I haven't got my glasses, I probably missed it. Yes, I did. So we're going to cut it right off. That's pretty sharp, but we'll see what happens. No harm at all. That again, that's died back to the fork there and there as well. So that whole little bit's got to come off. If I can just do this like that. Because see the dieback? Pointless trying to cut to there and just have that little bit there. That's a waste. Cut it off. It's a clean growth. And you work your way through the entire plant. I'm going to take the top off this because it's on the fork. And around here the same. Take it back to here. And a little prune, you know, when you look at it and you think, oh, it's a nice tree, but look at all that dieback on it. It doesn't look healthy, you know. And if you spend 5 minutes, I'm probably taking longer than I should here to do the prune. This one's pretty tight, and I like this branch. No, I don't take it off. It's gone. And again, so this little prune that I'm doing here, when I finish, I'm sure the tree's going to look a lot healthier than it did beforehand. So like that, a little bit on the top, take that off. That's clean. Tip prune. You can do a tip prune if you need to. If your tree's looking a little bit lanky, give it a light tip prune. Take all the tips off like this. Won't hurt it. and that way it'll bush out again. Now that's looking a lot healthier than it was about 2 months ago. And the same over here. Quick one. This is a dwarf orange and the puppies have turned up, folks. All right, Cara, I love you. They're all here. Now this one's also got dieback. Let me cut that off. See, that's a dieback, but it's still green inside, even though it's brown on the outside. So there's no point in keeping that because it's dead over there. It hasn't dried up completely, so it's dead on this end. Still a little bit of life in there, but that's going to come out. Don't mind my fingers. I've been gardening all day. Finally, you know, I miss out on a day of gardening and I freak out. But anyway, so this is going to get cut back. But look at this. Look at the vibrancy. Look at the shine in the leaf. That tells you that. Sorry about that. That was Cara just pushing her way through. What that's telling me is now that the root system has finally taken and accepted its new habitat, its new environment. You know, the rhizosphere, which is where the root ball is, and that's basically the zone of where all the fibrous roots live. It's like a little sphere, a ball. It's networking with all the microbes and mycelium and all the fungi in there and all the little good bugs that we need in there to help this plant go and feed off the ground. So that's telling me the network has finally connected. So you know how the network, the NBN drops out? Do you remember the old dial-up sound? Well, it's finally connected and everyone's happy. So clean up your trees, give them a feed. I highly recommend the superfood because we're doing the trials as well, folks. We've seen the results from the scientific research. It's fantastic. It's got some great benefits, huge benefits. In fact, the chitin that is part of the shell, and for those who don't know what I'm talking about, superfood is an organic-based fertilizer. It's basically castings from larvae, a soldier fly larvae that produce the food waste that comes from otherwise goes to landfill, creates carbon and releases into the environment and all that sort of stuff. Here we're closing the loop. We're gathering the food, turning it into a palatable fertilizer, which is a nice organic mix. But it also has the added, the exoskeleton shell of the larvae, which causes the plant to think that it's been under attack. And when that happens, the plant puts on this defense mechanism, which starts to thicken up its cell wall. It starts producing salicylic acid, which makes it even more, ever so more defensive against disease and pests. So you don't have to use insecticides and fungicides. That's a benefit of it. So give it a go. See, Superfood is what it's called. It's online. We've actually released a 30-litre bag as well. We've discounted it for people to trial it because I know a lot of people have been asking for bag version rather than buckets. So we've gone down the 30-litre bag. It's available now at vasiliesgarden.com. Check it all out. Until then, see you tomorrow. Maresi.